مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا.
Now, there are different ways of combining. Can you explain the two ways of combining the prayers? The first one, which is called Taqdīm, and the second one, which is called Taʻkhīr. We can simply say that Taqdīm is advanced combining, and Taʻkhīr is postponed combining. The first is the method for praying both prayers during the earlier prayer's time, Taqdīm, at Dhuhr prayer time or at Maghrib prayer time. The other is the rules applying to praying during the later prayer's time, which is the Asr or Isha prayer's time. Now, since Dhuhr and Asr can be combined, we will call Dhuhr as the earlier prayer and Asr as the later prayer. The same applies to Maghrib as the earlier prayer and Isha as the later prayer. Can you explain how we do the advanced combining, which is called Taqdīm prayer, to pray during the earliest prayer's time? Firstly, you have to be aware of the conditions of advanced combining, which is called Taqdīm. Now, the conditions of advanced combining, which is Taqdīm, are four. Number one, that you begin with the first of the two combined prayers, which means you begin with your Dhuhr prayers or your Maghrib prayers. Now, the second condition is that you intend to combine the prayers during the first of the two combined prayers, which is in Dhuhr's prayers or in Maghrib prayers. Number three is observing continuity between the two prayers, which is called al-Muwalah in the Arabic word, which means between Dhuhr and Asr or Maghrib and Isha. Number four, that the excuse remaining, for example, traveling, that's rain, someone which is afflicted with some kind of sickness or any other need. In Madhhab Shāfiʿī, it is called adna haja. Now let me explain. If you combine your prayers and you are doing advanced combining, which is called Taqdīm, which means that you do your prayers in Dhuhr or Maghrib's time, then you have to be aware of these conditions. The first condition is that you have to begin with the first prayer, which means you begin with your Dhuhr or Maghrib prayers. After you have prayed your Dhuhr, then you can pray your Asr prayers. The same goes to your Maghrib prayers. Only when you have completed your Maghrib prayers, you can pray your Isha. Now, the second condition is that you have to intend to pray the later prayer, meaning Asr or Isha prayers, in the time of the early prayers time, Dhuhr or Maghrib prayers, while you are praying the first prayer, which is Dhuhr or Maghrib, in any part of the prayer before giving salam in the end. Let us say you are combining and shortening Dhuhr and Asr, and you pray them in Dhuhr's time. You are doing the advanced combining, Taqdīm. So while you are praying Dhuhr, you have to intend to pray Asr in the time of Dhuhr. Likewise, if you pray Isha in Maghrib's time, then you have to make the intention to do so while you are doing your Maghrib prayer. Now, the example of the intention is like this. I intend to pray my Asr prayer in Dhuhr's time. Or, I intend to pray my Maghrib prayers in Isha's time. Or, I intend to pray my Isha in Maghrib's time. The third condition is that the next thing you have to be aware of is that you have to observe al-muwala. We can generally say that the period of al-muwala is about 2 minutes. This is the time you have after you have finished your first prayer, either Dhuhr or Maghrib, before you must start praying the next prayer, meaning Asr or Isha prayer. In that time, you may not be occupied with any other acts other than those related to Sunnah or Wajib to the prayers. When you have finished the first prayer, which is Dhuhr or Maghrib, you stand up and pray the next prayer with no prolonged break in between. You should only pause for the time it takes to do wudu, if you need to renew it, to say the iqamah and use your siwak. Now this rule applies only when you combine by using the method of advanced combining, which is called Taqdīm. Now the fourth condition is that the excuse remains while you are doing the combining, the Jamaʿ and shortening. For example, you are still traveling, there is still rain, you are still sick, or there's any other valid need. If you are not a traveler anymore, as you have changed your intention, you have reached your destination, or you are not a musafir anymore because you are residing for more than 4 complete days, then you will have to pray as you normally do at home. The next question is, can you explain how do we do the postponed combining, which is called Taʻkhīr prayer? If you are doing the postponed combining, the Taʻkhīr, meaning praying in the time of Asr or praying in the time of Isha, then you have to be aware of the 2 conditions. Number 1, you have to make the intention of postponed combining, which is Taʻkhīr, meaning Asr or Isha, while you are in the earlier prayer's time, which is Dhuhr or Maghrib ends. Number 2, that the excuse remains until the completion of the second prayer. Now, let us say you want to postpone your Maghrib to the time of Isha. While you are still in the time of Maghrib, you have to do the intention to postpone your prayer to Isha's time. The intention is like this: I intend to do the postponed combining of my Zuhur prayer, or I intend to do the postponed combining of my Maghrib prayer. The other few things you may want to know about postponed combining, which is Taʻkhīr, are you may choose to pray either Maghrib or Isha first if you do the postponed combining, Taʻkhīr. This means you can actually pray Isha first and Maghrib afterwards. But it is always better to follow the order of the 2 prayers, meaning to pray Maghrib before Isha. The next is that you may choose not to observe muwala between the 2 prayers. This means that there can be a gap of more than 2 minutes between the prayers. Some of the other points you have to note is that you have to pray in full number 4 rak'at if your vehicle has reached your hometown or the place of your long-term residence before you have done your shortening, which is Qaṣr. Number 2, that you have to do in full number of your prayers if you are following an imam who is not shortening. Now, many things can only be explained when you learn from a teacher through a book. Therefore, we have given you the simplified explanations on the method of Jamaʿ Qaṣr, then the calculation of 4 days, and the method of doing the Jamaʿ Taqdīm or Jamaʿ Taʻkhīr. It might not be so clear for you when you hear this video for the first time, and you might have to listen to it again for the second or the third time. Then only it will be clearer to you. We will meet again inshallah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
يا رب الأرباب عبدك فقيرك على الباب